Hey, thanks for joining me. So I'm out this morning with a lens, a vintage lens that I've had for a while. To be honest, I don't know why I haven't reviewed it before now. It's really an amazing lens. We're talking about the Mamiya Sekor 55mm f1.4. Now, what's noteworthy about this lens? Well, first of all, this lens is thought to have been made by a company called Tomioka. Tomioka made a 55mm f1.4 lens that has almost like a cult following. People really love it, and they sold that lens not only under their own name but also under a few other names, and Mamiya is thought to be one of those. So this lens is in M42 mount, so it just unscrews. It's a pretty hefty lens, 11.1 ounces, which is like 317 grams. So it's it's brass and aluminum. There's no plastic on this. Really solid lens. But it's your typical M42 configuration, thread mount. Got the pin on the back here for the aperture. It's got a switch here to switch from auto to manual. So you put it normally on manual if you're using it on a, like on a mirrorless camera. You'll notice that this lens has kind of a amber or yellowish cast to it. It's a unique design, but the thing that's kind of unique about this in terms of that color cast is that this has some lens elements that are doped with thorium, which is a radioactive element. Now, don't let that concern you. I think you could tape this thing to your head for a month and it probably wouldn't hurt you. The amount of radiation that comes out of this is really low. I mean, you get more radiation from hopping on a plane and flying at 30,000 feet or going and getting a dental x-ray than you get from using this for quite a few hours. So it's really not something to worry about. The lens is known for its exceptional sharpness when stopped down. It's also known for a really beautiful soft image at f1.4. So there's a bit of chromatic aberration that happens if you shoot it wide open and you get kind of a soft creaminess. The out of focus backgrounds and highlights are really beautiful and soft and creamy. So it's like I say, the lenses that are thought to be made by Tomioka have something of a strong following. And that's why this lens they're a little pricey. If you try to find one of these on eBay, you're probably going to pay, close to like $100. That's not how I would buy one of these, however. If I were to buy one, I would find it on a camera like this Mamiya 1000 DTL, which is where this came from. Mamiya, the Mamiya 35mm SLRs are relatively common. You often see these with I think it's a 50 or 55mm f1.7, which has its own following. And if I found one with that lens, and the price was good, I'd probably pick it up anyway. But if you can find one with this 50mm f1.4, the Mamiya, this one is a 1000 DTL. There's a 500 DTL. This lens was introduced on the 500 TL, and it has to do with the type of metering. But like I say, the lens is got a pretty strong following, hence its price. So it's probably, if you're going to flea markets or thrift stores or pawn shops or wherever to find vintage cameras, keep an eye out for the Mamiya cameras. The way you can spot one of these, not only of course is going to say 55mm f1.4, but the Tomioka lenses are known for a couple of features. Number one, the rear mount on this thing, you can see there's a set screw right here. That the Tomioka lenses are noted for having this rear mount assembly. There's a ring around the perimeter of it that's secured with these set screws. So that's one feature that is an identifying feature of a Tomioka lens. The other is the rear element that is basically flat. The rear element isn't convex like you'd normally expect. It's basically flat, almost like a mirror. And so that's another feature, though there are some lenses that are not made by Tomioka that have a flat rear element. So 55mm f1.4, the Mamiya Sekor is a really excellent lens. So what I want to do today is I want to show you all some images that I've taken with this. I'm going to kind of talk you through those images so you can see what I did with them. And we'll take a look at those images, and then I'll catch up with you afterwards.
Okay, let's take a look at these images. So this first image is a little taqueria not far from my house. Shot at early morning, so the light was actually kind of blue, but you can see the amber cast that this lens produces. Had the auto white balance off, had the my white balance set manually, and you can definitely tell that this lens warms up the image. Again, if you don't want that, you can turn your auto white balance on or use a white balance that'll correct it. But I want you to see kind of what that looked like. Okay, here we can see it's a picture of an old oil well. You've probably seen this in some of my other pictures. I just included this. It's got some really good detail. I wanted you to see kind of what detail you can get. This was shot at f8, and if we zoom in at 100%, you can see really nice detail. You can see the lettering, the threads on the bolts, the dirt, the weld seams. I mean, it's got really good detail, even blown up that big. It really does hold up detail well when you stop this lens down. Now here is a fence along the front of that, and I want you to just kind of see when you're focused up close kind of what you get from backgrounds. This is at f5.6, and the fence is that wire fence is what I focused on. If we go to the next frame, this is at f1.4, and you see how shallow the depth of field went. I'm at a slight angle with the fence, and it's only in focus kind of in one spot, kind of right in this area, and the background's nicely blown out and nicely soft. Okay, this is a carousel horse, and I want you to see this because the colors that this lens can render are just really beautiful. It's got great saturation. I haven't done anything to enhance the colors on this. It's just really beautiful. And again, great detail. This was shot at f5.6. It was kind of a somewhat overcast day, kind of cloudy bright, but you can I just love the colors that this lens will produce. Okay, here there were a lot of tulips out when I shot this, and you can see this is at f2.8. You can see nice detail on the tulip petals. Again, I love the colors. Nice soft background. This next picture I shot at f1.4, so the background gets really soft. There's a glow around the flower petals. Um, but if you look closely, there's still some good detail on those flower petals. So it's sharp wide open, but you've got this kind of glow that kind of encompasses everything. Really, I think would be great for portraiture and things like these flowers. I really love it for that. Okay, this next one shot at f2.8. You can see the background is not quite as soft, but you've got good detail in the center of the flower. It even stopping down just a little bit, this lens will really show you how sharp it can be. This next image, this one also shot at f2.8. You can see, I don't know what the parts of these flowers are, but the little pieces in the middle sticking out nicely in focus, nicely sharp, and yet nice soft backgrounds. And again, I just love what this lens does with the colors. Okay, these tulips, this is stopped down to f2.8. Great detail on the petals. You can see the flower petals. And still the background is nice and soft. You don't have to be all the way wide open at f1.4 to get relatively soft backgrounds. Here's the same flower shot at f1.4. Again, you've still got good detail on the flower petals. Depth of field is a lot shallower, but that background is just super soft and creamy. Nothing real, there's no swirliness or anything like that with the background, but it's just nice and soft. And that's really what I want. I don't want the background to be the subject of my image. I want my subject to be separated from the background with shallow depth of field and a nicely, softened background. Okay, this is just a shot across the park. Nice detail. The thing I wanted you to see here, we zoom in at 100%. You still got really good detail in the image, and even at that amount of magnification, the lens really holds up its detail. Okay, here you've got some lens flare that I'm playing with. I intentionally shot this with the sun in the image, and you can see at the bottom there's a pretty strong artifact. Flare kind of goes down across from the top to the bottom through the middle of the image. If you like playing with lens flare, this lens will produce it. I did not have a lens hood on this. If you put a lens hood on it, and obviously if you don't put the sun directly in the image, I think it does pretty well. Even with the sun directly in the image, I think it controlled flare as well as it could, considering the age and the type of coating this lens has.
Well, I hope seeing some of those images was helpful. Just really a beautifully made lens, just super smooth to focus. It's got this really wide knurling on the focus ring that makes it really easy to focus. Everything's just beautifully, solidly made on this lens. It really is a gorgeous lens. And there's some of the versions of this are all black and don't have the chrome aperture ring and the chrome nose on the front of this. There are versions that are just all black, so they don't all look exactly like this. Another note about that amber cast that this lens has. Some people really like it for the warmth that it gives your image. But one thing I've found on my Olympus cameras is if I leave the camera on auto white balance, the camera just basically cancels that out. It adjusts its own white balance so that you don't see the color cast. So if you want the color cast on one of these lenses, you've got to manually set your white balance for whatever the conditions are, and then you should see the effect of that. It's possible, especially if you're using JPEGs, that the processing in the camera may try to clean it up too. But you can always go to your RAW files if you want to see what it's doing. If you don't like that amber cast, you can set one of these up so that it's under an ultraviolet light. Or what I do is I just set this lens out like on my picnic table in the backyard. I put a piece of like aluminum foil or white paper under it, and I'll turn it over partway through the day, and I'll expose it to sunlight, which has got a lot of ultraviolet in it. And just do that for a day, and that very quickly reduces the amber cast. It never completely goes away, but it reduces it significantly. One of the things I like about this is that amber cast. I mean, I've got a lot of other lenses that are sharp, some of them that have some interesting, wide open effects, but that warmth that this has, I think is really appealing for some things. So anyway, yeah, this is a lens I've had for a while. I just thought, I really need to get this thing out and take it out, shoot some more pictures with it, and then let everyone see it. I definitely, if I ran across one of these and could get it at a good price, I would snag one. It's really worth having it. If you look this lens up on the internet, you'll see a number of articles where people extol the virtues of this lens. It's pretty highly thought of. Well, hope that was interesting. If you have any questions or thoughts, please don't hesitate to leave me a comment. I always love hearing from you. And as always, thanks for watching. You ready to go? Huh? No? You're going to go find another rabbit, maybe? They love finding rabbits. I don't let them chase the rabbits, but they love seeing them. Have a great day.